Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back to Out of the Abyss. With you as always, Lot, Pip, and Jake.
Hey.
Yo. How we doing, boys?
They're good.
It's stupendous.
Been
Stupendous.
a whole week of suspense.
Big week. This is a big week. We only covered the sightings last week, and this week we get to hit that juicy abduction scenario. Also, guys, remember, according to the Pentagon, UFO disclosure soon.
So the legend goes,
I'm not too hopeful because I don't trust the CIA or the FBI, but like still exciting stuff. Obama commented on it. I found an article.
What?
Direct Obama quote. What is true, and I'm actually being serious here, is that there's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are. We can't explain how they moved, their trajectory. This is Obama to CBS. That's my best Obama, by the way.
that's not bad.
Yeah, it's pretty spot on, actually.
You really nailed the flow of Obama.
Yeah, that part sold it.
Yeah.
That's
The weird
the
starting,
easy part.
stopping.
The syntax is the easy part. This month, there's supposed to be documents released by intelligence officials as per the December 27th Rona Relief Bill. That bill gave a 180-day time limit for a full declassified report on the unexplained aerial phenomena that have been seen across the world for decades. This, of course, comes more than 50 years after the dissolution of Project Blue Book and more than 70 years after Project Grudge and 72 since the end of Project Sign.
Hey, wasn't there like a massive like declassification already? I'm pretty sure there was like tons, like gigabytes of like UFO data that was either like leaked or declassified.
Yeah, there was a bunch of stuff that was leaked.
Leaked, that's
we
what it
saw a
was.
video last week, yeah, that was all leaked.
Yeah.
But the government confirmed that it was real.
I looked
After
at
it
some
was
of that
leaked.
stuff, and most of it is either illegible or censored.
Yeah,
Or
that sounds
both.
like government.
Because it's just like
anyone-
super low res scans.
Yeah. Man, do you not remember where... I can't remember. This is a little bit off topic. I can't remember what exactly the court case was, but it was the FBI were talking about how some group or other was bad. And the evidence that they used were a bunch of screenshots from 4chan. Except the FBI agents had been participating in the thread, like baiting people into saying reactionary stuff, and they hadn't bothered like using a VPN or refreshing or anything, so all of their posts still had the little arrows that said "you" beside them, so like it was clearly the FBI posting these things, and it was all like scanned and printed onto file paper, that like the old school stuff where it was like all connected and you had to like unfold it. You know what I'm talking about?
Look, I hated that shit, dude.
So now
Yeah.
that's how you unroll a thread.
Yeah, dude, and they're unrolling a 4chan thread of the FBI clearly in like trying to entrap people, and all the responses, by the way, all the responses to the FBI trying to like bait people into reactionary stuff was people being like, "Yeah, fuck off, like, get out of here.
Yeah.
We're not LARPing. This isn't."
It's
And,
so weird, dude.
Dude, it was. I'll try and find the article for next week because it was definitely a thing that like it happened in the entire internet. Had to like stop and whip ahead collectively and be like, "What?" Like-
Jesus.
But
So fucked up.
to get back on track, Project Sign, to anyone who doesn't know, that was the initial government project to investigate UFOs in the 40s. It was supplanted by Project Grudge, which was a lot more interested in discrediting UFOs than investigating them. And then Grudge was replaced by Blue Book because basically they officially went, yeah, you need to explain away UFOs. They got this one guy, J. Allen Hynek. They put him in charge. And, one second. I'm going to have to restart that sentence because my cat is currently throwing up behind me.
Oh, nice. The tone for between the names of going from Signs to Grudge is ominous.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, they really picked fitting names for their operations here, dude.
And then Blue Book is just like, that one sounds clearly like they're hiding something. It's in the book.
Yeah,
The
they
book
got the
that is
chance.
The book that is blue, that's where the stuff goes.
Yeah, they got the chance to get a scientist named J. Allen Hynek and put him in charge. And he was extremely boring and really smart. And over the course of decades of investigation, Hynek became convinced, not necessarily about aliens, but that there are UFOs that people see and that we don't know what they are. Much like Obama above, except...
I think we can all kind of agree on that there is something weird going on and we all can't quite explain it.
Objects that fly that we don't know what they are.
Which
by
is
definition, UFOs.
It
Yeah.
is indicative of something.
Anyways, on to the meat of the story this week. The events that poor Travis Walton was subjected to after he was zapped by an alien craft. So, to briefly recap, a group of loggers out doing a government contract in the boonies near Snowflake, Arizona. When on their way back to town, they saw a saucer by the side of the road. They stopped and Travis ran to scope it out, but the saucer started wobbling, and eventually Travis was hit with a beam of bluish light that made a sound like lightning and sent him in a 10-foot arc, landing heavily on his shoulder, unconscious, on top of a rock ridge. His friends bailed, which honestly, fair. Pip, last time you said we have to look for you for at least an hour. I'm going to say right now, if I get zapped by an alien ray and I appear to be dead, you're allowed to dip. I won't be mad.
I mean, no, listen, if you decide to come back and be like, hey, where's the body? Look for me for an hour.
Alright, that's fair.
If you can't find the body, I need like at least an hour of immediate looking. You can come back later and do like the hounds and stuff.
The hounds and stuff, dude.
Release the hounds.
You know, the scent dogs to find people.
So, the loggers did return later to... Yeah, that's what a hound is.
Is it not?
I mean, they do use bloodhounds for tracking, but I think hound is generally a term that they use more for, like, hunting dogs.
I guess.
Release the hounds is something that I would say, like, if I was hunting the most dangerous game.
I guess that is sort of something that Mr. Burns would say and not, like, a forest ranger.
Mr. Burns, the forest ranger. That's a spin-off we need.
Only you can prevent forest fires, Smithers. I got nothing. I didn't even try to do the voice.
I saw the little hands, the little pyramid finger thing I'm talking about. I saw that.
Oh yeah, excellent.
So they did return later to search for Travis, but they found jack shit. The police started to search, and the accusations of murder began. But after 5 days, a dazed and confused Travis Walton wandered into town, and the story that he told, way weirder than a murder. A murder's pretty cut and dry. This is a thing.
I mean, depends on how the murder happened. Sometimes it's not cut and dry. But
so this is under hypnosis, generously provided by APRO.
Sometimes it's messy.
The Aerial Phenomena Research Organization. This is the same group that paid for his polygraph tests. His memories and story revealed themselves. I'm so excited. This is great. This is from his book, Fire in the Sky. So, slowly, Travis regains consciousness. Every time that I imagine slowly regaining consciousness, I just picture fucking...
Skyrim opening.
So,
That's what I think
you're finally awake.
But I'd run the same page with that one.
He awakens with the single overpowering sensation of pain. He tastes bitter metal and feels weak. He got caught at that Imperial ambush at the border with that horse thief. No, he elaborates, however, that like the weakness he feels, it's not like hunger weak. It's like a mixture of exertion and illness. Which is like, yeah, dude, you just got smoked by a fucking laser. Like, I bet you're sore as hell.
Yeah.
He could make out a light source overhead. He said it was a rectangle, about 3 feet by 1.5 feet. Its diffused light came from the flat, frosted surface of the rectangle, which seemed to be hanging from the ceiling. And this just sounds like a box light from IKEA.
Yeah.
A little bit.
But it's in the 70s.
Glad
so,
to know that aliens are on the same technological level with our lights.
Yeah, they're in the 70s. They were up there with IKEA today. So now the room
Space
Space
they
age
do now.
technology and IKEA, dude. Sorry, carry on.
So aren't the Swedes the real aliens?
I mean, a little bit. Have you seen their language?
Take me to your leader.
Oh, God.
There you
We
go.
don't like that at
That's
all.
the
Is that
alien
back?
accent.
From now on, when I do-
green
We are
men in
going to
lederhosen,
probe you.
dude.
from now on, when we do voices for like Nordic aliens, like the tall blonde ones, yeah, they have Swedish accents. From now on. That's canon.
I mean, how could they not, dude?
The room appeared to be triangular, which is a weird shape for a room. With its base was at his feet, so I guess his head was in like the point of the triangle. And his first thought was actually like, "Oh, they brought me to the hospital," which would be really nice of a group of aliens that wound you. But
Not the case. Nope.
no, the room was hot and it was real humid with stale air. And he was still in his work getup with like his boots and his jackets and shit. So he was a sweaty ass logger. But
Ass logger.
he did have the mild relief of an exposed chest and abdomen because his shirt and jacket were pushed up to around his shoulders, and a device of some kind that was like 4 inches thick extended from his armpits to just above his belt, curving down to the middle of each side of his rib cage. The device seemed like some kind of like gray metal or plastic or something.
Huh.
He could see the shadowy figures of doctors leaning over him, wearing white masks and caps and weird orange-brown surgical robes, which would make me feel really uncomfortable. Like if I woke up and my doctors were wearing like fucking clown smocks.
Yeah, I would ask to leave immediately. Put the horn away.
The doctor's like, no, check it out. He
Inappropriate
leans forward and just squeezes your tit cheek and gets hit in the face with water, like from one of those prank flowers.
No. I don't want that.
Then
We'd love
everything snapped into focus, his vision and his thinking, and he realized he was not in the hospital. The being above him wasn't a doctor, but a creature with huge, luminous brown eyes the size of quarters. And I don't actually think quarter-sized eyes are that big, but if you see a picture of Travis has tiny little eyes, so I guess I understand.
I guess. I think if I wake up in a strange place and there's something freaky looking like that looming over me, my first instinct is going to be to punch it.
Good call, dude, because there wasn't just one dude, there was 3. And action scene time, he does.
Ah!
He lashes out at the 2 on his right, hitting one with the back of his arm and throwing it onto the other one.
Oh,
He
damn.
said that the one he touched felt really weird through the fabric of its gown, like it was more like a soft, fatty tissue than any kind of muscle or sinew. And it was really light, so Travis just like blew this thing away with his arm.
Huh.
He jumps to his feet, causing
Punches
the device
alien
on his
clean
chest.
across the fucking room, dude.
Yeah, dude. He beats it and he smacks it into another one like a Lee Sin kick. It's incredible.
Beat an alien with another alien.
So he jumps to his feet, and the device that was on his chest falls down, and it starts emitting bright green beams randomly all over the floor. And my man realizes that it is imperative that he arms himself. So he grabs an 18-inch transparent cylinder, right? And he uses it to lash out at the little things that are advancing at him. And the creatures all, like, slow down, but they continue forward with their hands outstretched in that universal sign of, like, whoa, like, let's not be fucking crazy here, buddy. Like, take it easy. He said they were a little under 5 feet tall, with the the usual, like, 2 legs, 2 arms, 5-figured hands, and a head with, eyes, nose, mouth. Normal setup.
Humanoid.
But
Yeah.
they all looked like they had, like, white, marshmallowy looking skin that was draped over thin bones.
Oh, weird.
What Travis had thought were gowns were actually like a one-piece coverall kind of thing that was made of a soft suede-like material. They had no fingernails, and they had very small feet. Their hands were delicate and small and totally hairless. Their fingers were thin and round and unwrinkled. They had large, bald heads. Travis describes them as bulging, oversized craniums, a small jaw structure, and an underdeveloped appearance to their features that was almost infantile. Their thin-lipped mouths were narrow, with tiny, crinkled ears. Their miniature, rounded noses had small, oval nostrils. So, I guess that when he talked about the big eyes, it wasn't necessarily so much the eye as it was... The eyes were like anime eyes, like they had giant irises and equally large pupils. So that, like, some of the pupil was actually hidden by the eyelids when their eyes were open. So, like, it made them look almost cat-like.
It's weird.
It is weird.
Yeah.
You would think, like, advanced races would have more like the whites of your eyes for, like, the to communicate. Like, evolutionarily, that's why we have, like, the whites of our eyes, and why dogs also have the whites of their eyes, is to, see how other people are looking with their eyes, to nonverbal communication.
Yeah.
I didn't actually know that. Makes sense.
Yeah. Although I guess if they've got the massive irises, that kind of does the same job.
Maybe. Fun fact, I do know that dog eyebrows more or less evolved into their current level of usefulness for dogs so that dogs could communicate with people.
That's neat.
That's neat.
Yeah.
I never really think about animals having eyebrows.
Like, yeah, I mean, you've seen dogs, like,
oh yeah,
look at like a window and then cock like an eyebrow, and you're like, yeah, buddy, like.
Cats don't do that; they just chitter.
Yeah, my cat's a little psycho. I love her to pieces. So, without saying anything to Travis or each other, all three of these little dudes, they're standing there with their hands out, being like, buddy, calm down, and they turn and leave the room. And Travis did what we would all do and scoped the place out. And it was filled with weird metal... by the way, I kind of imagine this as, like, he's playing Dead Space, except all the aliens are, like, not coming at him.
All the aliens are just funny-looking dudes.
Yeah,
little
but,
marshmallow
like,
boys, dude.
He's in the room, so he's got to check out everything that's in it. And then he enters the hallway and he starts, like, kind of scoping it out. Yeah, the room was just filled with, like, weird metal instruments. And he didn't recognize any of them, but they all kind of resembled stuff that you'd see in a lab.
Yeah, that tracks.
No one appeared to stop him when he left the room, so Travis just dipped. He entered a little curving hallway that was outside the door, and it was lit by a soft overhead light from the roof that was barely visible.
That's why the eyes are so big.
Yeah, dude, so they can see indoors in the lighting that they made. Good thinking. He passed a door about 10 feet down the hall, but was too scared to look in. The next door, though, he poked his head in. It was a room with a domed ceiling, 3 rectangular outlines resembling doorways that were evenly spaced around the room, and it was about 16 feet wide. It was mostly empty, mostly because there was a single chair in the room, empty, facing away from the door.
Now, I'm sure that's an alien chair, but the way you mentioned it just being like a single chair, I'm thinking of like the standard like wood frame chair. So like an alien...
like in Hostel.
Yeah.
Like he's looking into one of the rooms in Hostel and being like, oh.
Yeah, just like these alien walls, this weird triangular room with the doors, and then there's just like a regular like chair in the middle.
That'd be more fucked up, honestly.
That would be more fucked up, seeing like a regular thing in like an unusual setting. Uncanny.
Humans like feeling or like seeing familiar things. We'll just give him a fucking chair, dude. Nope, don't give me that. Give me anything else. Give me something weird, please. Thank you.
Give me a weird chair, please.
Yeah.
He looks uncomfortable. Get the human a chair.
Oh,
Give him the and whatever the IKEA name for a chair is.
We don't have any chairs, but I'll give him some pieces and an Allen key. He can do the work himself.
I'll bring out the Hofendorf-Hafentufer.
That is the official name, actually.
So he enters the room. But this is cool. He notices that as he walks in, the room just gets darker and darker, with little points of light becoming visible on or maybe through the walls and floor. They were like stars coming into view in the evening, only faster. The matte gray metal wall just kind of faded away into the blackness of space, so it was like he was standing on nothing with stars around him.
That's super fucking sick, actually. I would pay for those kind of effects in my day.
Oh man, we're getting fun fact. We're actually starting to get kind of close to that.
This is the use that I imagined for virtual reality when people talked about, like, walk into the room with all the screens and be like, computer simulation.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm thinking of. But that like fucking like that green
Holodeck?
outline just like follows the entire room and like maps it out. Yep, that's what we're at.
Yeah.
But the chair too, this is going to comfort you a little. The chair was unusual.
Oh, good.
On the left arm of it was a short, thick lever with a weirdly shaped, molded handle on top of some kind of weird dark brown material. On the right arm was an illuminated lime green screen about 5 inches square with a lot of black lines that intersected each other at all angles. Under that was approximately 25 colored buttons arranged in about 5 vertical rows with one color for each row. So this kind of sounds like a fucking dope ass MIDI board.
Yeah, he's got like macros.
Yeah. So Travis again did what we would all do. He pushed a button, hoping that it would open a door. All that happened was like the black lines on that lime green screen, they all shifted into different angles. And he pushed some other buttons, but nothing happened. So he's like, all right, time to get serious. Sits down in the chair, which seemed kind of small. Like, no shit, dude. You already saw these dudes. They're tiny.
They're tiny and weird and flimsy.
Yeah. And he plugged in his RGB mechanical keyboard and his Razer headphones. And
Ackerman.
No. He sat down. He rotated the handle of the lever forward. That's what he did. And the stars on the wall started to move downwards in front of him, all in unison. And this freaked him the fuck out. So he decided to leave well enough alone. He thought maybe like he was piloting the ship.
Oh, he's absolutely was, dude. If you
and he didn't want to crash it.
I guess.
You guys ever played Warframe?
Warframe?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
No.
So the animation when your character goes to like interact with like the star map on the ship is pretty much exactly like that, by the way. That's sick. That is fucking sick.
That is pretty cool.
That in my life, dude.
So
I think if I managed to get into the hot seat of an alien ship, you would have to fight
I'd fuck
to get
around
me
with
out,
it for
dude.
sure, dude.
Absolutely, dude. I'm doing loop-de-loops.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buzz by New York.
Space King. So
Hover above
he leaves the
White
room.
House.
He leaves the room and the stars all fade behind him as he dips. But back in the hallway, he steps out into it and then he hears a faint whirring sound and he spins around and the empty doorway that he just left, previously empty, now contained a person, an actual human, like 6'2" with a helmet on his head and like a really solid physique. He wore a tight-fitting, bright blue suit of a soft material like velour. His feet were covered with black boots and he had a black belt thing on his waist.
Nah, dude, don't trust him. He's wearing the uniform of the aliens, dude.
He's wearing
The alien.
those alien
uniform.
clothes, dude.
We will send him something that looks like a person.
Release the Norwegian. Boom, boom. So Travis runs up to this dude just babbling, but the dude just stayed silent, as the Swedish are wont to do. I'm sorry, I don't know why we just made them all speak. Then the guy just takes his arm and like gestures down the hallway, like, let's go this way. So they walk down the hallway together until they got to like an elevator with doors on either side. And this whole time, by the way, this isn't just a normal hallway. They're passing surreal scenery, like these big open spaces that have oval-shaped saucers, 40 feet wide, perfectly smooth and shiny with no breaks or noticeable doors or anything. They just keep passing. They pass another hallway, about 80 feet, and they go all the way down, and they get, at the end, to a set of double doors. And they open the double doors, and there's 2 men and a woman, all wearing the same suits as the first guy, with smooth skin and perfect figures. Like you said, like the lady was stacked, the dudes were all like jacked.
Peak performance.
They looked similar, but not identical. Like maybe they were siblings or something. They come up to him and lead him to a table, and he tries to fight back with his logger strength, but they just push him down on his back. The lady takes out a mask, like an oxygen mask, but with no tubes or anything attached, and she presses it over his mouth. And he tried to fight back, but she was so damn strong, he just couldn't. And then, blackness.
I like
Consciousness.
I like how the aliens, like, he woke up, started swinging at the aliens, and they're all like, "Oh wow, he's freaked out. He can't handle us. We're gonna send some humans to sedate him.
Send in the Swedes instead.
Send in the Swedes, dude. This guy's too freaked out. Calm him down."
The aliens were the Swedes, man. Who did they send in? That's the question.
It's still the aliens, dude. They're just fucking
Send in the Irishmen.
Mask on, dude.
disguised.
It's just disguised. Oh yeah, they just threw on. They
Like,
just threw on their. Oh,
The alien version of a fursuit, but like for people.
I mean, there were three.
Yeah.
There were three doctors in the room initially,
Yeah.
and then he entered
that's
that
what I'm
other
saying.
room, and there were three people.
That
in
has
it.
to be it, dude. You can't convince me otherwise.
That's fake, dude. They whammied him.
Yep.
Either it was like costumes or like mind stuff.
Consciousness returns, and he was laying on the cold pavement outside of Haber, Arizona. He was on his stomach with his head on his right arm. He saw a light above, but as he turned to see the source, the light went out. But as his eyes adjusted, he did kind of make something out. A rounded, silvery disc that was hovering about 4 feet above the road, and it was really weird. It was like 4 feet in diameter, but 14 feet high in the center. It floated silently above the road, leaving a warm feeling on Travis's face, like when you hang out near a engine that's been running for a long time. And then out of nowhere, this thing just shoots up into the sky, disappearing almost instantly in total silence. So, Travis runs into town. And there we get to the kind of the adjoining of of where we were last week. The timelines have merged. Travis is back, and the loggers that were suspected of killing him were all heaving collective sighs of relief. But of course, this wasn't the end, because it never is. Travis's brother, Dwayne, had already contacted APRO, and APRO sent over a hypnotist, giving us the above account. Travis had lost significant weight, but seemed otherwise healthy at the hospital, and the jar of piss that Dwayne gave to APRO did test negative for drugs. And I say it that way because it's weird to me that Dwayne submitted Travis's urine sample.
That is a little
That
weird.
is a little weird, yeah.
Although it's also a little weird that it didn't test positive for drugs, because it seems like they drugged him to get him like unconscious. Unless the mask was just some kind of like thing that interacted with your brainwaves and made you unconscious.
Just turned you off.
Yeah, it's bloop.
But regardless of the urine controversy, Travis was now a celebrity. The National Enquirer offered to pay for testing to see what had happened in exchange for an interview, and APRO, of course, was pitching in hypnotists, polygraph tests, and all kinds of fun stuff. Maybe a polo shirt, like a lanyard. Travis, by the way, passed the polygraphs except for two notable ones. One of them, he was on the show Moment of Truth in 2008. And they asked, "Were you abducted by a UFO?" And he said, "Yes." And they said, "You're lying." But, I mean, we know how trustworthy reality TV is, so...
Oh yeah, maybe they were lying. They weren't on a polygraph test.
John McCarthy, an expert with polygraphs, had also said that results showed that Travis is attempting to perpetrate a UFO hoax and that he has not been on any spacecraft. But fuck that guy.
A likely story.
I mean, if you're trying
Dude,
to downplay alien stuff, the perfect thing to do is to set yourself up as a guy that's an expert in verifying that stuff, and then call
True.
anyone selling the truth a liar.
Yeah, my name is Alan the alien, and I do polygraph tests, and this man, not abducted.
I am John Hugh Man, and I am expert.
That wasn't funny. Why am I laughing?
Stole that joke from Futurama.
Oh, that's why I'm laughing. Quality writing.
Honestly, yeah.
There was another man who I hate named Philip Klass, and he found some discrepancies, but I hate him so. This was the kind of guy, I read some interviews where he was talking to people, and he was the kind of guy where he would go to question someone, and then he'd interrupt them mid-answer, and then after 5 minutes of that, he would just start talking loudly over you about how your inability to answer questions proves that you're wrong.
What an
An
asshole.
effective arguing technique.
Yeah. But Klaus did bring up a couple of points. I'm not sure how valid they are, but here. One was that a few weeks before the incident, Travis told his mom not to worry about him if he was ever abducted because he would come home safely. And this doesn't, disprove Travis, though. That's just a note. Like I talked about last episode, they were into UFOs before this happened.
So yeah, his plan, if he ever got abducted, was to just start swinging. And look at that. It worked. He's fine.
Worked.
It did work. If it really happened.
Klass also noted that the movie The UFO Incident, that detailed the events of Betty and Barney Hill's abductions, had been released only 2 weeks prior to Travis's experience. I found a lot of people who were quoting the idea that there was financial motivation because the loggers were facing penalties for an inability to complete their contract on time unless an act of God was what prevented the completion. But I've seen the math on that, on how much they recouped and all of that stuff. If that was a scheme, that was a really fucking bad scheme, dude. Real bad.
Lost money, eh?
A lot of money. You always lose money. UFOs aren't for profit. That's not a profitable.
Yeah.
Don't make money on that. But I guess, it could have been a scheme. And it's true that Walton has remained famous. His book sold a fair few copies, got made into a movie. He talks at UFO conventions. He was even on fucking Joe Rogan Experience.
Yeah, I watched that episode, by the way, after you linked it. Pretty good.
I was watching some of it. He doesn't really look directly at him very much when he's talking.
He does not know.
Which seems a little weird, little sus, but alright.
He is kind of remembering something traumatic.
That's true.
Travis puts forth a theory for why he was abducted, and I like it. I like this, actually. He thinks that maybe when he was under the craft, he basically got, cranked by the exhaust, and it accidentally injured him. So the aliens scooped him up and healed him, and when he, started to heal, he woke up and was like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Put me back! Put me back! So they did. And they just, if a bird runs into your window and you just bring it in and feed it for a little bit and then release it.
Huh.
Makes sense to me, dude.
Yeah. Actually, I was kind of like reading through everything that happened and the way that he was underneath and then the beam zapped him.
Yeah, there was no security. It didn't seem like that thing on his chest sounded like it was a medical device to scan, not for experiments. Seeing if his heart's okay after they zap him.
It just fell off, so it's not even it was attached to him or anything.
He wasn't even
just,
restrained.
Placed. Yeah.
They're oh, get this boy to med bay. He's huffing our plasma fumes again.
Yeah. So I don't know. I actually really I feel like that explanation actually pulls the whole thing together. But yeah. Anyone who wants to, you can go find all kinds of clips of interviews and Travis Walton at UFO conferences giving speeches. There's tons of documentation. Also true, all of the guys from his crews, they've all maintained this story throughout the years.
What's really interesting about the him being cranked by the exhaust thing is I feel like that's somehow a clue on maybe how that whole craft works. What would cause that, right?
What,
Science.
the fact that it has an exhaust? What do you mean?
We call it we call it the Swedish combustion engine.
The means by which it produces an exhaust of that nature. Science side of the internet, get at me.
It runs on meatballs.
It does run on meatballs. Confirmed. Everything
That's a
Swedish
fact.
does, dude.
Hell, I do. I'm not Swedish. I run on meatballs, buddy.
Listen, I'll be real. Those IKEA meatballs are delicious.
They really are, and I'm a big fan of lingonberries as well.
Oh my god, they're so good. The Swedes really know how to eat, dude.
Yeah. It's like the best
Yeah.
part of going to IKEA, dude. You love it.
Oh yeah, dude. I go there and just buy a lamp, and they're like, "All right, time for dinner."
I just go right to the end, dude. Fuck 'em.
Yeah. Get a cinnamon bun, dude. Their cinnamon buns are
Yeah,
so good.
actually.
Oh my God,
actually,
yeah.
so good.
Yeah, so we got two different kinds of aliens in this one. We got the little white dudes, and we got the big, like, people-looking people.
The Swedes.
People-looking people who are not people, but aliens.
They were just in helmets. There's like zero. I don't think there was any description of like those humans having like any like exposed skin. They could have just been like
Oh,
robots.
no, they did. They did.
Oh, did they?
Their face was exposed. It was like a normal human face. It
Oh,
wasn't anything
okay. When it said
spectacular.
helmet, I was thinking like a motorbike helmet with like not visible face.
No, think like the old school spaceman, like upside down fishbowl helmet.
Oh,
Yeah.
that would calm me down then. That would calm me down a little bit seeing another person, even though it is in like an alien uniform.
I don't know, dude. He said this dude was like 6'2" and jacked. So like, between that and the glass helmet, if he just appeared behind me, I'd feel like he was like a Big Daddy from BioShock, and I would just lose my fucking mind.
I'd be
I'd
like,
be so scared. I'd be like, "Ah."
I mean, he's only like an inch taller than me, so I'd be like, all right, he's another person. He's kind of buff. It's weird.
Wait, hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. So he's in the star room. He sees the stars. Oh fuck! I better not touch those. He leaves the room. He hears the whirring sound. He spins around. The Punisher is there. From
Oh no.
And he gets slimed.
And he gets slimed.
And then he wakes up on the street.
Slimed,
With that-
cold, and
Yeah,
hungry.
dude.
They
They
a bunch of cold slime and a sore ass, and
they get the
Gotta go
Geiger
to
counters. They get the urine test positive for slime.
That's what I call him, the Punisher.
Punisher, I hardly know her.
Jesus. Okay, if I recall something that I read or heard correctly, I think they accused Travis Walton, the drug they accused him of being on was acid and angel dust, which is like,
That shows up though,
that's
doesn't it?
not a thing.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but if you're mixing drugs, those are not two that like any person would be like, yeah, that's a good combination of things to do together. You know, like no one does that.
That's some Florida
that's
man
not
shit.
Yeah, it's very much some Florida man shit. That's horrifying. But yeah, because he had that puncture wound. He had one puncture wound, so they were like, oh, he's been shooting acid and PCP.
Shooting ass.
But
Okay.
Yeah, dude.
All right.
Oh,
anyone
man.
doing acid, please, for the love of God, do not inject it. Please, I beg of you.
if any of you ever injected LSD, please send us an email at outoftheabysspod@gmail.com.
We'll do a whole fucking
I gotta
episode
know.
on it, dude.
Actually,
I
yeah.
gotta know.
Yeah, you know what? We get an answer on that. We'll read that for an episode.
Yeah,
Or
come
in
on
an
the show
episode.
with us. Actually, that's the plan.
Yeah,
We will invite you on the podcast.
Jesus Christ.
we'll get you
Can
in the
imagine?
Discord.
Oof.
We're gonna have an episode 500 of Out of the Abyss, Narcotics Anonymous.
That said, we do not encourage the use of actually injecting that so you can get on the show. If you have done it incidentally, we'd love
Yeah.
to talk to you. Don't just do it because that sounds unsound, and we do not want to be liable for encouraging that behavior.
My name is Lot, and I am here today because I'm addicted to weed.
Wow.
You just go into that half-baked bit where everyone starts screaming at him. Weed isn't a drug. I used to suck dick for coke. You ever suck dick for weed?
Forgot about this scene, actually.
No.
That's what I
Yeah,
was
dude,
thinking of as soon as you said that.
The guy who yells it is Bob Saget from...
Yeah, he is. Makes it even better, honestly.
I love it though. I love this whole thing. I love this whole case. I love the descriptions. I love the movie. I love the idea that when he was in like the craft or whatever, after he'd busted out and he was walking down the hallway, that he was seeing areas big enough to have 40-foot wide saucers. Like, where the fuck was he?
Was he in the ship?
I don't know.
Was he in a mothership?
I mean, maybe he was gone for 5 days. And he only remembered like a couple hours of it. He was unconscious for the rest of it.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't have any like continuity of experience between like
He-
moving to in and out of the wherever he came from.
Yeah, he
He
has
was
no
unco-
recollection of moving in or moving out.
He was unconscious from
so
it. For all we know, they teleported him in, and that's why he felt so ill.
He could have been on another planet. Like, it could have been anything.
It had to have been some kind of ship, though, I think, because there was a pilot seat.
True.
And there
We
was
don't know if
one
it's a pilot seat. It
seat.
could have just been like a
I
fucking...
think- I feel like if it's
console or something.
I feel like if it's a mothership, it's got like a whole like Enterprise style bridge, right, with like a bunch of dudes.
You think it seems an interesting choice to be like, yes, and one captain's chair.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, no lock on the door. Yeah, 2 doors down from the medical bay where we'll put sick, crazy people that we pick up off random planets. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's perfect.
that really supports the whole like it wasn't intentional to like pick him up, but they hurt him, so they got to do the right thing and put him back together. I don't know. I think it was.
Well, you know,
I
when
think he
we
was
were
on, like, a-
assembling the spaceship, I think we maybe just got some stuff mixed up.
Oh,
The instructions weren't very good.
we never put any words in the instructions. It's all a bunch of dang pictures.
Jank ass spaceship.
IKEA spaceship.
Oh, it's assembled with Allen keys. Don't let your dreams be dreams. That's going to do it for us this week, I guess. That's all I have. We don't have all the answers.
Yeah.
Because we don't have access to polygraph tests, which would, of course, solve all of our problems. That's how polygraph tests work.
True.
Totally.
Very, very true.
But thanks... But thanks for tuning in this week. As always, we've been having some real big weeks, so let's keep that momentum going, guys. Hit us up on social media. Our Twitter is at @OOTA_POD. Drop us a line. Let us know what you think. Patreon, patreon.com/OOTAP. Facebook group, Out of the Abyss Podcast. And I feel like I need to point out, we also have all of our episodes up on YouTube, if anyone prefers that. So come subscribe there, guys.
Check us out, dude. Check us out.
Yeah.
Yeah. As always, hope you enjoyed. And remember, everything has an element of the unknown. Good night.